Hello, class. My name is Taylor Watts, and this is my visual essay, and I'm doing it on Robert Smalls. We'll cover the location in a second. I just want to give you some brief background history. So, May 13th, 1862, young Robert Smalls, in the lieu of his, he he was part of a troop of slaves that helped package and ship cotton. In lieu of his captain not showing up, he slipped the steamship called the Planter slowly off the dock with his, troop of some odd, fellow slave crewmen. They picked up their family members at a rendezvous point on the coast, and the 17 slaves he would eventually free set sail for Union territory. He wore the captain's hat. He flag signaled through through two different Confederate checkpoints, including Fort Sumter. Sorry, that's a really grainy shot, but through Fort Sumter, which, as we all know, the first shots of the Civil War were later fired. And uh, after reaching Union territory, he, raised the white flag, sailed to open seas, and sacrificed the ship to the Union war effort. And they paid him for his efforts, and he stayed there through the duration of the war, and afterwards returned south with the money from with the money from the releasing or surrendering the steamship. He went on to purchase the house where he was born, and raised a slave, and lived there with his family. He served. He went on to serve in the first generation of black politicians. He served in the South Carolina state. South Carolina State Assembly. He served in the Senate, and then had an additional 5 consecutive terms in the House of Representatives, before he retired. He died in Beaufort on February 22nd, 1915, in the house in the house that he bought after from the money from surrendering the ship, the house he was born a slave in and grew up in. Um, like I said, he died in Beaufort February 22nd, 1915. Beaufort's my hometown, and the space, while I didn't get a chance to go back there this week, I'm in the upstate still. I spent a lot of time here as a kid. This is the Tabernacle Baptist Church. And outside in that green spot, hold on, let's head back. This is a picture before. Um, this is the green spot, and then they eventually dedicated these these graves over to the right here are where Robert Smalls and his family were buried. And this is a bust that they put up later. They raised money and put up this bust. Where in the previous picture they hadn't put the bust in yet. But oh no, I'm sorry, it's in that picture. It's down there in the right hand corner. I thought it was older. Anyways, this bust is this like park. It's called Smalls Park. It's very small. You can visit his gravesite. They recommend you stay on the concrete path. I had this weird tradition as a high schooler where I would go. I went to church, and it was the Episcopal church just behind this one, and I would park a few blocks away, and I would walk to church. And so I would walk by this bus every morning with my morning coffee, and I always take a moment to kind of sit. Sometimes I would like pat the shoulder of the bust and be like, good job, good job, Rob. I don't know. I was a weird high schooler, but I came through and I spent many mornings just kind of ruminating over Robert Smalls and his achievements. And like honestly, this is one of my favorite. If you want to talk about a slave narrative, like this is one of my absolute favorites. He just did so much. Well, he first off, what a harrowing story. Second off, he took that story. He took his freedom, and he once it was like safe, he returned to South Carolina, and he tried to make it a better place. He fought the Reconstruction rollbacks. He fought, a lot of Jim Crow laws that were established in the state later. Like, he went back and did the best that he could and was a representative for the South, which to me is, I mean, wow. It's a harrowing tale, and it's a great example of like doing good with, what life gives you, no matter what it may be. He, did the best he could with his family and his situation. And once he was in a better place, he went back and tried to help others that found themselves in similar situations. So that's Robert Smalls, and that's Robert Smalls Park.